This new generation of dance music has changed the meaning of the word sunburn for most Indians. But for me, I'm going to stick to the textbook definition. I'm getting sunburned. And my idea of a party is this: the bright sun, sand dunes and big SUVs to plow through it all. Let's do some dune bashing now, shall we? This party was courtesy of Nissan India. The Middle East is where Nissan's SUV range has a stronghold, and therefore it was the perfect place to sample and understand what Nissan's modern-day SUVs are capable of. The Petrol that you see here is a 2013 model which had over 1,75,000 kilometers on the odo and a whole lot of luxurious bulk, and you can still see what it could do. We had a choice of 4 SUVs to drive through the day. The Petrol mothership that you see here, the Pathfinder, which lends its design direction to the Terrano, the Nissan X-Trail that unfortunately isn't coming to India anymore given the high taxation on hybrids, and the Nissan Kicks, which is currently one of Nissan's smallest offerings in the SUV space alongside the Juke. Also, as a part of the Nissan SUV Heritage Drive, we are going to be driving one of their most basic offerings in the Middle East, the Kicks. Now, it may be basic, but it is very important, especially from an Indian standpoint. If it doesn't ring a bell already, the Kicks is going to be Nissan's latest offering, their latest SUV offering in the Indian market in January 2019. Now, this car is different, this car is smaller, this is not the model that's coming to India. They are making a made for India, a specific for India Kicks, and we will be driving that soon. But for now, we will be driving this to get an insight on what to expect. Take a look. The recent teaser images revealed by Nissan India hint at the finer details like the streamlined shape for the headlights, the boomerang-inspired taillights and the V-motion grille, etc. will look more or less similar to the Kicks that you see here. The India spec model, however, will have wheel arches that flare out more for an imposing stance. Given the current trend, I'm hoping to see dual-tone paint schemes too, and I particularly like the grey body tangerine roof combo sold in the United States. While the India spec Capture shares its platform with the Duster and the Terrano, the Kicks will be based on Nissan's versatile V platform. Compared to the car that you see here, the Kicks headed to India will be longer and will sit on a higher ground clearance and a longer wheelbase. This variant of the Kicks then is compact, and it feels all the more compact when you're driving it next to such tall buildings here in Dubai. But the fact of the matter is, the Kicks that will come to India, like I said, will be a larger car. This being the compact one, you also feels compact when you're driving it. It feels more like a hatchback. It's quite easy to drive, and you don't get that commanding view of the road that you would expect from an SUV or a crossover. In India, however, Nissan is going to pitch the Kicks as an SUV and not really a compact crossover. So you will get a more commanding view of the road in that sense. The quality of the materials used in our test car seem to be on par with our Capture long-term tester, but the Kicks certainly has better aesthetics than its French cousin. Now, this is of course the base variant, so you do not get a touchscreen infotainment system. Everything is quite basic. Even the plastics, they don't feel that great. However, in India, again, I hope Nissan pumps up the quality of plastics. They make it a more premium vehicle because that is what it's going to be pitched as. In fact, they recently announced their strategy and they have said that connectivity options, infotainment options are on top priority for all their upcoming cars, and I hope that for the India spec Kicks, they get us a better infotainment system. The Kicks that I'm driving right now is powered by a 1.6-litre petrol engine. It's mated to a CVT gearbox. Nissan is known to build some really good CVT gearboxes, and this is no different. This engine puts out about 120 PS of power, about 150 Newton meters of torque. In India, however, I wouldn't be surprised if Nissan continues with the 1.5-litre petrol engine, the same one that powers the Renault Capture as well. The volume generator, of course, is going to be the 1.5 DCI, the diesel engine. That's where most of the sales of the Kicks will come from, but I would also like to see something like this come to the Indian market. The 1.5, 105 PS motor, it's not very sprightly. This one would probably make more sense. The ride quality of the Kicks on Dubai's butter-smooth highways was decent, but it felt quite like a hatchback when I managed to drive it on a rough road. The suspension is a tad bit noisy and the ride gets quite jarring on the sharper bumps. Handling is pretty neutral and this isn't an enthusiast car. It remains to be seen then if the higher ride height of the India spec kicks changes things. Save for the design and the connectivity options then, the upcoming India spec model will have little in common with the Middle Eastern spec kicks that we drove. But the takeaway for me is that the car we sampled feels like a modern compact crossover that is easy to drive and more cosmopolitan in its appeal. I hope that the India spec kicks is able to replicate that and not end up feeling or being more utilitarian instead in a bid to be more of a butch SUV in comparison. Nissan has the case of the India spec capture to learn from, and addressing those small but very important concerns could help them create a contender that can create waves in the 14 to 20 lakh rupee SUV bracket.